Hello, everyone. Rachel Ramsey in the NBC4i Digital Center, back again with another episode of Columbus Business Beat. And as always, joining me now is Mark Somerson, managing editor of Columbus Business First. So thank you once again for joining me, Mark.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Rachel.
So again, with all these episodes, we talk about everything business happening in Central Ohio. So we're going to jump right into it. This week, we're going to start talking about data centers and how they're powered. And Mark, it seems like more and more of these companies announce plans to launch data centers across Central Ohio. And right now, you guys have worked on this story about this company out of Massachusetts that has plans to power this data center in Millersport. So kind of talk about that story that you guys are working on.
You bet. We've written a lot about data centers in the last few months. Beforehand, it seemed to all be concentrated more on the East Coast. Virginia was one of those states where data centers were popping up left and right. Data centers have started to spread throughout the country now. What's driving it is AI. AI requires so much power for every little bit of things that they do. So these data companies like Google and Meta and the others, Amazon Web Services, are all pushing to build more of these data centers. Right now, there's at least 117 data centers. That has caused AEP Ohio to have a bit of an energy crunch, saying, yeah, we're not going to be able to supply power to all of you. So a couple of things. There is, of course, they created a tariff that would force data companies to pay for, I believe it's 75 or 85% of the power they guess they're going to use up front. But there's also, which is more imminent right now, is a waiting list to get approval to get power to those sites. So a lot of them are just in this holding power. Those who are starting to build are starting to figure out that they can create their own on-site power plants that they can pretty much bypass AEP Ohio, except for transmission lines on their properties. So as you mentioned, there's one of them. It's a $1 billion data center in Millersport. It's going to be powered by a natural gas power plant for 1,600 megawatts of power. And they're going to start out with 400 megawatts of power in the first one and then build up slowly. Then Power Connects wants to build 2 natural gas plants for 330 megawatts of power, 2 phases for the Edge Connects data centers, one in New Albany, and then a bigger one that will be somewhere else. They haven't exactly said where in Central Ohio. But what's really interesting is how there was like zero interest in creating these on-site power plants a few years ago. A survey that was done not long ago, they asked data center planners and companies, how many of your facilities will have on-site generation? A year ago, 13% of them said that was something that they were planning on doing. By 2030, now 38% of the facilities say they're going to build those. And fully powered by those power sources, which means no need for outside utilities. 1 year ago, 1% of data center companies said that they were planning on being fully powered by 2030. Now that's up to 27%. So there is a huge interest in creating this on-site power to basically bypass the utilities and speed up the process to build these data centers because, as you know, AI is everywhere and is being used so much, and it takes up so much power.
And along with that, with these data centers, there's also that concern about the power and kind of straining that grid. And I know you guys, again, kind of talked about that in your story, but how, again, is this company kind of doing that differently with staying off the grid, I guess?
Yeah, it's basically it. They're staying off the grid and they're bypassing the utility by building these either natural gas or other kind of power plants within their properties. So once they build those, then that's a huge initial cost, but it speeds up the process. And every day you're waiting in line to build your data center is money lost. And so they see this upfront payment as something that's super important to get things moving, get things off the ground, and get that AI powered in your data centers because you're going to need it in the future, as everybody knows.
So where does this proposal kind of stand with this right now to build this this power plant?
Yeah, those have to go before the Ohio Siting Board or Commission. So they're not, I don't think everything's exactly approved, but it looks like it's being fast-tracked to go through. So I think these data centers who are interested in building these on-site power plants are going to move a lot quicker than those who aren't because, again, there are a lot of them that are in the middle of building them and they've already been approved by AEP for power. But there are, like I said, a growing waiting list in Central Ohio. And if there is that waiting list that doesn't go down, data center companies are going to go further out west and they're going to build elsewhere because they need to put these up somewhere. And Central Ohio is very attractive right now in the New Albany area. They're open for it. Jobs Ohio and other groups are working with data center companies to provide the land that's already ready. Sites are been improved. There'll be access, all of that stuff and incentive plans. But the power was the thing that was holding them up.
Mm-hmm. And one final question before we move on to this next story. Is there a construction date set, or like you said, they're still like kind of in the first, like that proposal phase?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it started going up, but if you drive through, especially the New Albany area, or go down to Millersport where this one is being planned, the $1 billion center, you're going to see things happening, if not now, very soon.
Okay. Perfect. So we'll move on to our next story. Columbus Business First held its event with a company called Androl. So before we talk about that event, for those who don't know, what is that company?
Androl is basically, it was born just a few years ago, 2017. It is a company out of California. They're basically a defense company. They're a contractor, but they've sort of turned the world on its head. The way they operate is it's their own money. They're not waiting for government contracts. They invest in their own products that they say a lot of groups and military and countries don't even know they need yet. And they do it quickly because there's not a lot of other outside sources. Like they were saying, to build a missile now, a brand new missile system takes 10 to 15 years. They say they can do something in 6 months.
Wow.
They have the plans. They're creating the manufacturing sites, including Arsenal One, which will be built in Central Ohio in northern Pickaway County. And that's what our event, we put on an annual Columbus Opportunity Summit. We've had ones about Intel. We've had them about onshoring manufacturing. And this year we asked, Androl, and they sent Zach Mears, who is their Senior Vice President of Strategy, also an Ohio native. He worked at the Pentagon and he's worked in Washington. And he represented the company there. We also invited somebody from Jobs Ohio, somebody from One Columbus, as well as Pickaway County, who kind of smoothed the deal, putting all this together on how Ohio won this in the first place. We competed against Texas. We competed against Florida and North Carolina. And Andrew was very complimentary about how Ohio basically said, we can put all of this stuff together quickly and get you the land that you need. And Andrew already is working out of one of the warehouses that they purchased. And as you can see, they have plans for a lot more. They'll have 7 buildings total. We're talking about a huge package of money that's going to be going into this. They're going to be building all sorts of things. We had a story yesterday before the summit that they've applied for the second phase, a second building, nearly 1 million square foot facility on its campus there in northern Pickaway County, that it's estimated to cost $45 million.
Wow.
They have a lot of money they've raised over the years. They are sitting on an awful lot of cash. Some of the things they're working with European countries. They're working with the Australian Navy on an autonomous submarine project. And then some of that stuff is going to be built locally as well at the facility here. And so, yeah, we held this summit yesterday to hear directly from Androl, one, how they chose Ohio, and two, how quickly they're moving. And one of the messages that Zach Mears of Androl said is, they're not moving fast enough. They want to be quick. They want to be before everything starts to happen. They want it moving. And Ohio has promised, as fast as you want to go, we'll go as fast as you will. We'll help you get that speed going up, help you with the manufacturing site, and get everything ready for you to go.
And I was going to say, it's crazy how you're talking about how fast everything seems to be moving with that. Is there a set number of how many people Androl is expected to be hiring with this new facility? Yeah,
4,000 by 2035, which
Wow.
is the largest employment package in state history. Their total investment is somewhere a little north of $1 billion by 2035. They also... Trust me, they got a really good package from the state of Ohio. Jobs Ohio already gave them a $310 million grant plus 30-year, 2.59% job creation tax credit, which is basically over the time of this contract worth $452 million to Androl. Pickaway County threw in $70 million for infrastructure support to make sure that the area that they want to build their complex is all set. So yeah, the state really worked closely with them to make sure that they won this. humongous prize. And Andrew was very pleased how quickly everything happened and are getting ready to, are already building things in northern Pickaway County and looking forward to getting started on these next phases.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how everything gets underway. Mark, thank you so much. Of course, we'll be back talking more about business. We'll have NBC4 digital reporters David Reese and Ava Boldazar talk to me more about some new things in Central Ohio, including an expansion with a local restaurant and a home goods facility relocating to Central Ohio. So we'll be back with all of that after this break. And welcome back to Columbus Business Beat. NBC4 digital reporters David Reese and Ava Boldazar joining me again this week to talk everything about business. They both work on business stories, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So David, let's start with you. Talk about this new expansion with So Plated.
Yes, Rachel. Well, thank you for having us again. So Plated is a health-inspired restaurant that opened in Upper Arlington and Lane Avenue in 2019. And since then, they have looked for opportunities to have little expansions. So they opened a grab-and-go to-go location in Franklinton last fall. And then earlier this month, they opened another one of those to-go locations in the Shorth North.
So kind of talk to me about what customers can expect to see at this new cafe.
So what's really great about it is they said that it's basically very similar to everything that customers love about the full-service restaurant in Upper Arlington, but with that grab-and-go convenience component. So there's fresh juices, smoothies, salads, bowls, sandwiches, coffee, a whole bunch of things, and an organic market that customers can just literally pop in and grab, some of their favorite things that they love from the full-service restaurant.
And I was going to say, obviously, it's a grab-and-go location, but is there anything different from these carryouts from the original restaurant?
So it's really just a smaller, abridged version of the full service menu. So it's a lot of the favorites, some breakfast options like the scramble, the avocado toast, some of the salads, sandwiches, like the Wagyu steak sandwich. So it's really just, a smaller version of their current menu.
So you're telling me this is going to be one of our new brunch. Oh, my Surrey just came on. That's fun. But anyways, this could be a fun little brunch place for anyone.
Yes,
that,
absolutely. Just a quick little grab and go. Maybe you're coming home from a workout class and you need a little something. Definitely stop by So To Go for sure.
Yeah, definitely have to try it out. Looks really good. So Ava, we'll go to you now. Talk about this facility that's relocating to Central Ohio.
Yeah, so Picanova is moving a warehouse to Obetz, and Picanova is a home goods company, and basically customers can upload their photos and have them printed on pillows, blankets, canvases, things like that. So it really focuses on customizable products and photo printing. So they are relocating from Miami to Obetz in an existing warehouse that you can see on the screen there.
And is there a reason, or has the company kind of said why they're relocating to Obetz?
Yeah, so currently their facility is in Miami, Florida, and they said that they wanted a more central location and that Ohio's transportation networks will help them get products to customers more efficiently and quickly.
And with this move, is the company going to plan on hiring more employees? And if so, how many more are they going to be hiring?
Yeah, so the company is going to be hiring 246 workers, and on Monday they said that they were going to begin hiring immediately, and that warehouse is expected to be operational this fall.
And how many facilities do they currently have? Is there very few, or do they have a bunch? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so this will only be the second facility. They have one other facility in Arizona, and obviously I'm excluding the Miami facility here, which is going to, shut down as they move it to Obetz.
Okay, perfect. And finally, we have one last story that David wrote up that I think all of us enjoyed when you first wrote up the initial story in May. The world's largest rubber duck coming back to Ohio this weekend and after visiting in May. So David, again, you wrote the story. Talk to us about Mama Duck and where we can expect to see her this weekend.
Yes, her name is Mama Duck. She is the world's largest inflatable rubber duck, standing more than 6 stories tall. And she is coming back to Ohio this weekend, Friday through Sunday at Put-in-Bay, making her second Ohio appearance. So we are very, very excited for Mama Duck's return.
I was going to say, I'm super excited. I'm going to be in Cleveland this weekend. So
it's close enough.
I know. Maybe I should go visit her. So you mentioned how big she is. How did Mama Duck even become a thing? When did she debut.
Yeah. No, she is quite large. She's 61 feet tall, 64 feet wide, and 74 feet long. So I mean, it's a big duck. But she made her debut in 2014 in Los Angeles. There was a big crowd, and so she's been on tour ever since, sort of across the globe. And recently, she's been focusing on coming to towns across the nation.
And right now, you can see on your screen, or they just disappeared, but mama duck sometimes will have a little baby inflatable duck.
Yes,
that joins her. So talk about that.
Yeah, that's Timmy. He's about 10 feet tall, and sometimes he's with her. But I don't think he's going to be there this time when they're in Put-in-Bay. But yeah, sometimes he likes to join his mama, little Timmy.
That's so cute. I love that. And you know, how many visits, or with these visits, I should say, this probably brings a lot of people to the areas that she's coming to. I mean, I know it's just like an inflatable duck, but like you would probably assume this brings probably more business to the areas.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the point, and that's why we mention it today. Especially the organizers that are bringing her to Put-in-Bay. I think they really wanted to show and the local businesses that people can utilize when they're on the island. And you know, I think sometimes it's fair to say that Put-in-Bay has this reputation of being more of a party place. Mm-hmm. But I think the organizers behind Mama Duck wanted to say, hey, there's a little bit of everyone here on the island. So definitely a great thing for families this weekend.
I was going to say, I really would love if they brought her to Columbus. I mean, I'm sure she could fit somewhere in Columbus on
Absolutely.
the side, or like, I don't know. I would love that. And I would definitely go see her if she came to Columbus.
I would too. We would definitely make room for her. You know, she can walk on land and she swims. So we have options.
And I will say, they can only bring her to Columbus if Timmy joins her.
I know. I would love to see Timmy. Just the two of them together. He's so cute. I mean, he's pretty big too. 10 feet. That's a big rubber duck.
I can't believe how big she is. I mean, if you look at these pictures, some of them crack me up. I think this one with the bow, and then there's one.
That's my favorite.
There's one that comes up with her in this one. This one gets.
I love when she towers over.
She's
queen.
watching.
I love her.
Well, I really hope Put-in-Bay gets a big economic boost this weekend so that other communities across the nation, and especially here in Ohio, see the impact that she has, so that way she keeps popping up. I would love to keep seeing her in Ohio every year.
No, same. Well, thank you both so much for joining me, talking about everything that you're working on with business. Of course, we'll be right back with more to talk with Mark Somerson with Columbus Business First, with their stories that they're working on. So we'll be back after this break. And welcome back to Columbus Business Beat. Joining me again is Mark Somerson. And our last story we're going to talk about for this episode is dealing with the Shorth North area, where a visitor fee was created to fund services in the neighborhood. So before we even get into that fee, who even started this idea and formed this fee, Mark?
The Shorth North Alliance, which is going to run the Shorth North New Community Authority, went to City Council a few months back and asked to help create this NCA. And that allows them, on top of what else the Alliance already does, which is working with businesses on safety, cleanliness, all that, is to create a fee to help pay for increasing security as well as cleanliness and maintenance throughout the Shorth North. As you know, the Shorth North is extremely popular, gets very busy late at night, especially on the weekends. And the Shorth North Alliance wanted to create this authority so they could create a fee to help pay for increasing that security and cleanliness.
And how much is this fee going to be?
Well, it's also voluntary. You don't have to participate in this. Now, as a visitor, if you go to an establishment that does participate in this, you will pay a 1% fee. That's on meals, drinks, retail, parking, and hotel stays. From 12 to 3 a.m., that goes up another 1%. So that's already on top of fees that you might already see added at your hotel. There's a hotel tax in Central Ohio as well. But on meals, you'll notice a little increase for those restaurants and at shops if that retailer has volunteered to be in this program. We don't know how many retailers and restaurants have signed up to do this. The Shorth North Alliance, who would run this, has said they're getting a lot of buy-in from different groups. Safety and cleanliness is always an issue in any part of town, but the Shorth North is a small area, and it does get very crowded late at night, especially on the weekends. And to keep everything intact, to make sure that the visitors as well as the shop owners and restaurant owners are happy, they say this fee will allow them to do so.
And could these fees be added on to other things in the future, other than, restaurants and all that other stuff?
Yeah, I don't know at this point. Right now, this is what they told us. Again, voluntary, but it's meals, drinks, retail, parking, and hotel stays. If you're a visitor to Bridge Park, they already have a 0.5% fee on dining and retail and a 1% fee on hotels. So this isn't new. It's just adding on. And they say, look, most visitors won't notice this. It's a very small percentage of your total bill, but it'll be worth it to keep the amenities that you are used to in the Short North both clean and safe.
And I don't know if you mentioned it already, Mark. When does this fee start, or is this already happening?
Oh, no, they haven't actually started it yet. They're still talking about it. They're still trying to convince businesses and business owners to buy into this. And I think there's going to be a lot of discussions about that in the Short North among the Alliance and its clients to make sure everybody's on board before this gets started.
And has Columbus Business First heard from any, people out in the community about what they think about this fee?
Not yet. I mean, it's a little too early, and since nobody's paying it exactly yet, we haven't heard. Most people don't like extra fees.
Yeah.
Anytime you open your wallet, you don't want to have to keep opening it. But it's a small percentage. Short North says it's worth it. Some of the businesses who are buying in said it's definitely worth it. We'll have to see down the road what the consumer has to say.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I mean, with Bridge Park, they have their own, and it seems like that no one's really noticed it. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm sure some people have noticed it, but I don't think it's affected the number of people who continue to go to Bridge Park or the Short North or other areas of town, for sure.
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. Mark, thank you so much once again for joining me for this episode of Columbus Business Beat. And of course, that's going to do it for this episode. The show is produced in partnership with Columbus Business First and is available to watch in multiple places. Each week, the program will premiere at 6:30 p.m. Thursday on the NBC4 Columbus streaming channel. The app is available for download on smart TVs that have Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. The latest episode will also be available for watching on demand under the featured shows section. And the program will also be available the following Mondays for additional viewing on NBC4i.com and on NBC4's YouTube channel. Of course, for more information, you can visit our website, NBC4i.com/stream. And of course, for more information about Business First and how you can subscribe, just go to columbusbusinessfirst.com, or you can scan that QR code on your screen right now. We'll see you next week right here on the NBC4 Columbus streaming channel.